Hi guys, this is Connie, back for more Connie Wants to Be a Finisher in 2017. So here is the 9th installment of Connie Reads Cover to Cover Aesop's Emphasis, Aesop's Fables. So we left just at the end of, because I had to look it up, The Ox and the Frog. And there are 4 more stories on this page. We'll do it for 10 minutes and see how many stories we get to and finish and through. So here we go. The Man and the Image. A poor man had a wooden image of a god to which he used to pray daily for riches. He did this for a long time, but remained as poor as ever, till one day he caught up the image in disgust and hurled it with all his strength against the wall. The force of the blow split open the head, and a quantity of gold coins fell out upon the floor. The man gathered them up greedily and said, "Oh, you old fraud, you! When I honored you, you did me no good whatsoever. But no sooner do I treat you to insults and violence than you make a rich man of me." The next story is Hercules and the Wagoner. A wagoner was driving with his team along a muddy lane with a full load behind them, when the wheels of his wagon sank so deep in the mire that no efforts of his horses could move them. There is a sentence there. As he stood there looking helplessly on, and calling loudly at intervals upon Hercules for assistance, the god himself appeared and said to him, "Put your shoulder to the wheel, man, and goad on your horses, and then you may call on Hercules to assist you. If you don't lift a finger to help yourself, you can't expect Hercules or anyone else to come to your aid." With a moral under it: heaven helps those who help themselves. Next story: The Pomegranate, the Apple Tree, and the Bramble. A pomegranate and an apple tree were disputing about the quality of their fruits, and each claimed that its own was the better of the two. High words passed between them, and a violent quarrel was imminent, when a bramble impudently poked out his head out of the neighboring hedge and said, "There, that's enough, my friends. Don't let us quarrel." The Lion, the Bear, and the Fox. A lion and a bear were fighting for possession of a kid, which they had both seized at the same moment. The battle was long and fierce, and at length both of them were exhausted, and lay upon the ground, severely wounded and gasping for breath. Yeah, I did say that. A fox had all the time been prowling around and watching the fight, and when he saw the combatants lying there too weak to move, he slipped in and seized the kid and ran off with it. They looked on helplessly, and one said to the other, "Here we've been mauling each other all this while, and no one the better for it except the fox." The Blackamoor. Never actually seen that word before. A man once bought an Ethiopian slave, who had black skin like all Ethiopians. But his new master thought his color was due to his late owners having neglected him, and that all he wanted was a good scrubbing. So he set to work with plenty of soap and hot water, and rubbed away at him with a will. But all to no purpose. His skin remained as black as ever, while the poor wretch all but died from the cold he caught. Strange. The Two Soldiers and the Robber. 2 soldiers traveling together were set upon by a robber. One of them ran away, but the other stood his ground, and laid about him so lustily with his sword that the robber was fain to fly and leave him in peace. When the coast was clear, the timid one ran back, and flourishing his weapon, cried in a threatening voice, "Where is he? Let me get at him, and I'll soon let him know whom he's got to deal with." But the other replied, You're a little late, my friend. I only wish you had backed me up just now, even if you had done no more than speak, for I should have been encouraged, believing your words to be true. As it is, calm yourself, and put up your sword. There is no further use for it. You may delude others into thinking you're as brave as a lion, but I know that, at the first sign of danger, you run away like a hare. The Lion and the Wild Ass. A lion and a wild ass went out hunting together. The latter was to run down the prey by his superior speed, and the former would come up and dispatch it. They met with great success, and when it came to sharing the spoil, the lion divided it all into 3 equal portions. I will take the first, said he, because I am king of the beasts. I will also take the second, because, as your partner, I am entitled to half of what remains. And as for the third, well, unless you give it up to me and take yourself off pretty quick, the third, believe me, will make you feel very sorry for yourself. The moral of the story says, might makes right. And now we have a couple of pictures. The man in the Seder, I believe that's how they pronounce it. Feel free to pause it and stare at the pretty pictures as long as you want. A man and a satyr became friends and determined to live together. All went well for a while, until one day in wintertime the satyr saw the man blowing on his hands. "Why do you do that?" he asked. "To warm my hands," said the man. That same day, when they sat down to supper together, they each had a steaming hot bowl of porridge, and the man raised his bowl to his mouth and blew on it. "Why do you do that?" asked the satyr. "To cool my porridge," said the man. The satyr got up from the table. "Goodbye," said he. "I'm going. I can't be friends with a man who blows hot and cold with the same breath." Ooh, there's a color picture here. I'm sure we will be getting to that soon enough. Yeah. Well, we'll get to it eventually. Yeah, we definitely have time for at least a few more. The image seller. A certain man made a wooden image of Mercury and exposed it for sale in the market. As no one offered to buy it, however, he thought he would try to attract a purchaser by proclaiming the virtues of the image. So he cried up and down the market, "A god for sale! A god for sale! One who'll bring you luck and keep you lucky." Presently one of the bystanders stopped him and asked, "If your god is all you make him out to be, how is it you don't keep him and make the most of him yourself?" "I'll tell you why," replied he. "He brings gain, that is true, but he takes his time about it, whereas I want money at once." The eagle and the arrow. An eagle sat perched on a lofty rock, keeping a sharp lookout for prey. A huntsman, concealed in a cleft of the mountain and on the watch for game, spied him there and shot an arrow at him. The shaft struck him full in the breast and pierced him through and through. As he lay in the agonies of death, he turned his eyes upon the arrow. "Ah, cruel fate!" he cried. "That I should perish thus! But oh, fate more cruel still, that the arrow which kills me should be winged with an eagle's feathers." Oh, that's kind of sad. What's another one? These are all going to be coming probably in the next installment because these are like 20 pages away. But they're still fun to look at. We'll do one more. And then we will end this session. The rich man and the tanner. A rich man took up his residence next door to a tanner and found the smell of the tan yard so extremely unpleasant that he told him he must go. Excuse me. The tanner delayed his departure, and the rich man had to speak to him several times about it, and every time the tanner said he was making arrangements to move very shortly. This went on for some time, till at last the rich man got so used to the smell that he ceased to mind it, and troubled the tanner with his objections no more. Very interesting. So many different morals and stories. But that's it for this session of Connie reads cover to cover Aesop's Fables. Do you have a favorite Aesop, or do you have a favorite fable? Words and phrases and things. Please let me know. And maybe it'll be in this book, or maybe we've already read it in the first 8 other installments. But that'll be fun and interesting. Be careful with that and enjoy, please and thank you, and I will see you for the next installment.